Switzerland's neutral position in World War II is said to have added 3 months to the conflict. And this is dedicated to the Swiss, who trained me as a watchmaker, but anyone who's spent any time in Switzerland will realise that it has a dark undercurrent, to say the least. When I saw the picture, I saw a metaphor, the practice of neutrality during war. It was a Swiss-made wristwatch, circa 1939. The movement still working, still keeping time. A picture of Hitler was there on the dial, that much maligned moustache, a face with no smile. The great dictator that Chaplin made comic, who burned in a bunker as the world went atomic, was there on a wristwatch that Switzerland made, neutral in war, yet proactive in trade. The watch was simple, the case of steel, and the cartoon not funny, but angry and real. The movement was by A shield, caliber 151, a thumb-sized Führer, a wrist full of fun. A once cheap object, now extremely rare, Hitler's collectible, the antique fair. Popular with the punters at the auction house, keep time with Adolf and not some dumb mouse. One size fits all. It's ready to wear. Strap it to your wrist. Listen if you dare. Listen to its ticking. Listen to its beating. Listen to its beating hard, still bitter cold and receiving. Hear the train moving and the balance swinging. Hear time knocked out. Hear the mechanism ringing. Hear the voice of the watch count out each hour. Feel the force of the spring. Wound to full power. Trapped inside a barrel, wanting to unwind. Forced to work constantly, a slave to mankind. The voice of the watch is trying to speak, but it's tired and old and faint and weak. 18,000 beats an hour is the speed of its heart, and once it is stopped it may never restart. So listen to its stories, it turns back time to expose the true horror of Switzerland's crime. Neutrality in war makes sound business sense. Without killing, making killing while sitting on the fence. The precedent was set during the 30-year war. Switzerland sat back and watched the profits soar. Always pleased with Napoleon, at least to Waterloo. The bottom line in business is the interest you accrue. And World War II is an opportunity just too good to miss. And confidential bank accounts were the weapons of the Swiss. A good export business will keep down inflation, and their money in your bank protects your population. So they dealt with the Allies and sold to the Axis. Kept eating chocolate, paid Europe's lowest taxes. They demanded the right to trade with Japan, when a very small country must earn all it can. A very small country must protect its independence by accepting the friendship of those in ascendance. So the Swiss turned a blind eye to the Third Reich goal, mindful of their need for their oil, iron and coal. Dug from the Rhineland by captured slave labour, the Swiss sold spare electric to its Aryan neighbour, as well as ball bearings and clutch couplings for tanks. Guns and chemicals earn the millions of francs. An army can march, but an army needs backing, so they financed arms for blitzkrieg attacking, made anti-aircraft instruments and parts for B-1 rockets. London burglars, bankers in Bern relaxed and lined their pockets. They filled their vaults with stolen gold that the Nazis resmelted and then resold to pay back the loans on Swiss-made munitions that prolonged the war, kept alive their ambitions. Now the gold that Switzerland stuffed in its vaults was not rightfully theirs, but theirs by default. It was stolen from those the Germans defeated, too heavy to move as they quickly retreated. And once in German hands it was stored, then recast and passed to the Swiss with no questions asked. But there was an even more sinister trade, the details of which they'd later evade. Far more shocking than trading in guns, worse than secreting top Nazi funds, was Switzerland's conduct to the European Jews and the thousands of accounts they managed to lose. As the last country in Europe to grant political rights, the Swiss were at best apathetic to the Jewish plight. At worst, its institutions were accomplished and complicit in dealing and conceding the illegal and illicit. Despite his own knowledge of Hitler's orders, they turned back Jews as they crossed their borders. Bankers tipped off Nazis about hidden Jewish assets and artifacts and artworks, and Antwerp's diamond facets were exchanged in Switzerland's main railway stations as the diaspora disembarked at death camp destinations to be sacrificed and slaughtered to Hitler's crazed obsession, funding their own genocide with their asset-stripped possessions. Wedding rings and fingers, watches from the wrist, dental gold from out their mouths, not a single piece was missed. The best of Swiss-made watches stolen from the Jews were cleaned and put aside for top SS to use. With military precision, the trains all ran on time, the watches only following orders, precision by design. And trains with tons of gold left concentration camps to terminate in Switzerland with bogus pre-war stamps. The Swiss, still convinced the Germans would win, kept their mouths shut as the money rolled in, recalling the proverb good children are told, that speaking is silver, to be silent is gold. And when Germany lost, The banks played their ace as thousands of accounts disappeared without trace, and Jewish survivors who went to withdraw their parents' deposits from before the war were met by clerks who spoke with regret that proof of death was needed, a death certificate. So the rightful heirs got nothing but bureaucratic persecution because Auschwitz didn't issue them at the doors of execution. And as the memories shrink, as time expands, Hitler hiles once more with the watch's hands. The simple watch that was built in the Dürer watches the Swiss and keeps time for the Führer. Swiss time is slow, over 50 years behind, as the coils of the mainspring slowly unwind. The watch's action is slow and sluggish, but his voice is audible, raucous and thuggish, laughing in wonder at sheer disbelief at solid gold watches from old Jewish teeth, carefully observing the watch's faint dial, the tight thin lips break a wry smile until the bank time locks start unlocking. Hitler speaks with his voice still mocking, until all that own are paid their dues. The world still spins to his twisted views. The case may be complex, but it will not be dropped. The truth may be slow, but it will not be stopped. Thank you.